downtown Naperville, Illinois. Place I have spent a considerable amount of time in over the years. And I'm here to do some exploring. Greetings, my friends. Welcome back to Mike Allen from Chicagoland, broadcasting today from Naperville, Illinois, about 30 miles west of the great city of Chicago. And today I'm going to take a little journey around the town here. Spent a lot of time in Naperville over the years, having worked in this area for the past 17 years. Well, now I feel like I need to take some time to just really take in the beauty and the sights of the downtown Naperville area. It's not something I've ever really done before. There's a lot of statues and things of that nature along the river walk, so I'm going to go and check those out, and I thought let's profile this for a YouTube video. So please come and join me, and let's get started. Now, Nichols Library in downtown Naperville is one of 3 libraries in Naperville proper, and each one of the 3 libraries has something along these lines. A Dr. Seuss statue. This particular one here in downtown has the Cat in the Hat, and if there's time, I may go check out the other 2 on the outskirts of town. Now, I never really was a Cat in the Hat kid. I was more in line with the other 2 locations, so I think I will try to make time to get over there. But in the meantime, let's check out what else downtown Naperville has to offer. There's a pretty tall statue here of Joseph Naper, the founder of Naperville. He was a Vermont native that headed west and came to Fort Dearborn, which is now Chicago, right around the time that Chicago was just about to be incorporated into a city. And him and a group of settlers came out west and settled in this area, settled in the Naperville settlement, and it thrived and prospered under his watch and grew into the town that it is today. There's a picture of Joseph Naper with his wife, Anita. Now, I probably drove past that Joseph Naper statue at least a few thousand times and never once stopped until now, so learned something new about the town and how it was discovered. So glad I did. Now, the river walk along the DuPage River here is probably the crown jewel of downtown Naperville. I've walked it a few times, but never really stopped to look at the sights. So I'm going to do that right now. Very beautiful area. Looks like it was a Naperville resident who became an illustrator of the Dick Tracy strip in 1983 and eventually became the author as well. I point this out because in 2010 this large statue of Dick Tracy was erected. Pretty cool. Never stopped to look at this before. Now, I never really followed the Dick Tracy comic strips or anything like that. The biggest connection I had to Dick Tracy was seeing the Warren Beatty movie that came out in the early 90s, so probably showing my age there. Here's a beam from the World Trade Center ruins. Second time this year I'm seeing a beam from the World Trade Center towers. First time was down in Fort Worth at the museum down there. This is a whole memorial to 9/11 victims. Got some pieces from the Pentagon and from the field in where Flight 93 crashed in Pennsylvania. In fact, they even have a 93 right here to memorialize the people that were killed on that day and on that flight. And then police department, FDNY, and the Port Authority Police. And this is a mural to represent the lives that were lost on 9/11. They're designed by school children here in Naperville. This here's a veterans memorial that was here erected along the river. equipment there. So local businessman Jim Mosier was the one who kind of visualized the building of the Naperville River Walk based upon his trips to San Antonio and seeing, their river walk and what it had to offer. I think this is him with the former mayor of Naperville, kind of just visualizing and laying out the plans for this absolutely beautiful walk along the DuPage River. Now, Jim Mosier's son, Porter Mosier, is the head men's basketball coach at Oklahoma, and he was the head coach of the Loyola Ramblers, who advanced to the Final Four back in 2018. And Porter and I actually crossed paths when I was working for the athletics department of Illinois State University. He was the head men's basketball coach at the time. And I'll just say I'm extremely happy for Porter and the success he's had, leading Loyola to the Final Four in 2018 as a mid-major program, and then moving on to a Power 5 conference and working for Oklahoma as their head men's basketball coach. So very happy for him. And they got these old murals right along the river. I believe this is the old Naper settlement. Portrayal here on the wall. Local business owners Walter and Grace Fredenhagen. Looks like they owned an ice cream shop here between 1931 and 1993. And this park here is named after them. Here along the wall of this bank here is the Naperville Municipal Band. This tribute was erected in 1996. So this statue here portrays 5 local Naperville residents who fought during World War II, and fortunately all survived and made it home, lived out the rest of their lives. It's called Veterans Valor, erected in 2006. And I was not leaving downtown Naperville without checking out the smiling Abe Lincoln statue. I don't think I've ever seen any pictures of him smiling. That might have been something to do with the fact that it took forever to get pictures taken back in his day. By the time they would take the picture, he'd be sick and tired of having to sit there. Now down in Springfield, it's good luck to rub his nose on his bust that sits outside his tomb. I'm going to rub this one here. Maybe that'll bring me some good luck as well. This is Porter Mosier's aunt and uncle, Margaret and Harold Mosier, nicknamed Mr. and Mrs. Naperville, due to the numerous housing developments he helped create along with his wife, signified there in the shovel. And you probably heard the cathedral bells ringing while I was profiling the smiling Lincoln statue. That was St. Peter and Paul Catholic Church, and it's portrayed here in the statue as one of the items that Mr. and Mrs. Naperville held dear to their hearts. This is Mosier Tower here in Centennial Park, named after Mr. and Mrs. Mosier. Looks like it's closed off to the public. And I did make time to head over to Naper Boulevard Library to see the statue of the Grinch and his dog Max. This is the Dr. Seuss creation, not the Jim Carrey one, which I despise. This is where it's at. When I think of the Grinch, I think of Dr. Seuss. Watch it every Christmas, still to this day. Now I get to enjoy watching it with my kids as well. So we're gonna make one more stop to see one more Dr. Seuss statue. And for my final stop of the evening, I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I Am. I probably wore out the cover of that book because I read it so much as a kid. So I think I'm gonna call it a night here in front of the 95th Street Library on the far south end of Naperville. If you wouldn't mind hitting that like and subscribe button, I would greatly appreciate it. You can also help me out in other ways. I'll put links down in the description below. I'll be back next week with another video, but until then, don't you go changing.